Good evening and welcome to Newsmax Prime. I'm J.D. Hayworth. Of prime interest tonight, drama for Obama. Publicly, our president is non-committal about who he wants to see get the Democratic nomination. But behind closed doors, is he really behind the draft Biden movement? More on that a little later. But first, Donald Trump's continued rise. Several new polls released today, the results the same. Donald Trump leads his competitors by a significant margin. The Donald was on MSNBC's Morning Joe earlier today, and he continued his assault on career politicians, saying his message is what people want to hear.
I think that people are tired. They're sick and tired of incompetent politicians. Nobody knows the politicians, better than me. I think when I get up and speak, I get the biggest crowds. We get standing ovations, and all we do is talk about how great our country could be. And I mean that. Our country has such potential. But if it continues to go on this path, it's going to be almost impossible to bring it back. It's really far down the line.
For more on this story, I'm pleased to be joined here on the anchor desk by Miranda Khan, and in turn from Newsmax Washington, we're joined by Dick Morris, Newsmax TV political analyst and author of the best-selling book, Power Grab, Obama's Dangerous Plan for a One-Party Nation. Dick, we heard it again this morning, Trump calling a lot of the opposing Republican candidates incompetent. Your take on that kind of tough talk?
He basically is saying, you're fired. And I think a lot of people would like to fire the politicians. Competence is the one thing that's left out of the equation all the time. Fidelity to the left or the right, integrity is often an issue, forcefulness, leadership, all of those things are issues. But if you were hiring someone, what you'd want is competence. You wouldn't care if they're left or right. You wouldn't care if they're outspoken or not. You want them to know what the hell they're doing. And we really underestimate competence. And as a manager, Trump gives it the appropriate credential, and I think voters are very happy about that.
Dick, I want to ask you, who do you see coming out on top during Thursday's debate in Ohio?
Well, I'm not sure that there'll be one top. Each candidate has a different mission on the debate. And in each one, and some of them might fulfill the mission, some might fail to fulfill it. It's within a strategic plan for each one to get from here to there, and some will and some won't. The reason that Trump is rising so dramatically is he inhabits the no man's land of our politics, in between what we know is real as Americans and what the politicians are unwilling to talk about because it's politically incorrect. So the politicians are going around and telling us, oh, you can't talk about crime and immigration together. That's racist. But we know we'd have a third less crime if we didn't have illegal immigrants. The politicians are saying, oh, you can't criticize people on disability. But we know that a whole lot of them are faking it. And what Trump is doing is filling in that no man's land between what we know is reality and what our politicians are willing to admit.
So in terms of the politicians on stage with Donald Trump, will it be open season on the Donald in the debate as far as the other candidates are concerned?
Oh, I don't think anyone is going to attack Donald Trump. When you're on a stage with a hungry, uncaged lion, you generally don't taunt him.
What about Jeb Bush?
I mean, he'll destroy anyone that comes after him, eviscerate him on national TV. I don't think anyone, and besides that, they probably left their cell phones home because it's television, but, Trump could find them and destroy them.
Dick, I have to ask you, I don't know if you heard me, but what about Jeb Bush? How do you think he's going to fare during the debate?
What about who? I'm sorry, Bush?
Jeb Bush, yeah.
Yes. Well, Bush has to prove that he's a Republican. He has to prove that after he's raised hundreds of thousands of dollars from Democrats, and after he's embraced amnesty and he's embraced Common Core and so on, he's got to return to Republican roots. If there is one sentiment that animates the Republican voter these days, It's feeling that we worked our butts off when we won in 2010 and we elected Boehner. We won in 2014 and we elected McConnell. And then no sooner do they take office than they give away the store in negotiations to Obama. They're saying we want to win, but we want to make sure that when we win, we win. And I think Bush is pretty suspect on that count.
Dick, a new poll from South Carolina has Donald Trump ahead at 34%. How important are these primary polls in key states like South Carolina?
Oh, they're very important. And I think that, there's a long time to go. And the problem with a guy like Donald is he might step on the wrong landmine and then get hurt. But, he's a media pro. These other guys are amateurs. They don't go on TV once a week for all year after year after year, but Donald does. And you saw with Reagan how much better a pro is than an amateur when it comes to being on television.
Dick, Donald Trump has released an important open letter on Newsmax.com. In fact, our viewers can go to our website, Newsmax.com, and read it. In it, he reveals what his plans are for the next few months and the challenges he faces. It's a really important letter from Donald Trump. We urge our viewers to read it. The letter was paid for by the Trump for President campaign. He's releasing it first to Newsmax, really a sign of the importance of Newsmax as the go-to source in the Republican primary. That's why people need to go click on it, and they can get it at Newsmax.com. I'm curious, Dick, this move, utilizing a website exclusively with an open letter. It's interesting the way Trump is trying to attract people to his team, is it not?
Yeah, well, I think that he and a lot of other viewers feel that some of the other TV networks may become stereotypical and not creative and not open to the new ideas that Trump is bringing in. And I think perhaps he sees in Newsmax a more friendly audience. My mind goes back to the opening days of Fox TV when I appeared before the Lewinsky grand jury. And as I came out of the grand jury, all the reporters wanted to know what I said. And I said, if you want to know what I said, I'm allowed to talk about it. Nobody else is. And I will tell you chapter and verse, but you got to go to Hannity and Combs tonight to see it. And at that time, the Hannity and Combs show was like 0.1% in the ratings. So it was pretty cool. And I think that's kind of what Donald just did.
Well, it's in a sense, I guess it's like what Mark Twain said. I used to cite it on the floor of the House. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And really, in the world of politics, Dick, this is a major distinction for our parent website, Newsmax.com. Final 30 seconds to you, sir.
Well, I think that fundamentally what Trump is doing is taking a new kid on the block himself and talking through a new kid on the block, Newsmax TV. Now, of course, Newsmax has been around for a long time, but I think it's an appropriate decision on his part, and it's kind of fun.
And, Dick, we're going to keep you around. For now, we want to remind everybody that you can get your copy of the best-selling book by Dick Morris and his dear wife by going to powergrab411.com. Still to come, it's Hillary and Joe in a battle for President Obama's support in 2016. But has the president's decision of who he's backing already been made? Ed Klein offers his insight. Then, illegal immigration, amnesty, and border security. 3 key concerns for 2016. We discuss them all in my exclusive one-on-one interview with Governor Scott Walker. But first, another disturbing Planned Parenthood video has been released. Betsy McCoy joins Dick Morris to talk about it as Newsmax Prime continues.